Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler, author of the new book, A Saga on Home Video, A Fan's Guide to U.S. Star Wars Home Video Releases, available now through Amazon and elsewhere. This time we're taking a look at an odd thing that I actually didn't know existed. It doesn't wind up getting a mention in here. I'd never seen it before, and I'm not really sure if it's something that bears mentioning in a future edition, because I'm not entirely sure what it is that I'm looking at. This is one of the rare times in this series where I'm going to show you something cool and new that's in my collection. But in doing so, I'm going to ask you, as the audience, have you ever seen this? Do you have any idea about specifics about this item? Because it's just not something I've run across before. You may recall that recently I did an episode about sculpting the galaxy. It was episode 75.1. We had episode 75 that looked at the DVD from it when I borrowed that DVD from fan of the show and friend of mine, Brian Snook. And then in 75.1, I'd actually bought that limited edition box set from Brian to show it finally here on the show. And I mentioned how he was sort of liquidating parts of his collection in the process of doing that. Well, when he did so, and he sent that giant Sculpting a Galaxy box to me, he also tossed in a few other things that were duplicates and such from his collection, saying, hey, maybe you could do something with this. It's probably stuff you've already got, but maybe you could do something with it. And at some point, I'm thinking I'll probably take things that are duplicates from my collection and eventually do like some kind of giveaway or something. Because I've got a little bit of bits and pieces of several different product lines that are just sitting here as extra copies of stuff. Like I've got an extra clamshell Toys R Us Phantom Menace, but it doesn't have the lenticular bit with it. I've got a rental copy sitting here of Classic Creatures Return of the Jedi and so forth. So I'll probably do something with them at some point. But he sent along these other things, and I saw them, and I thought, that's kind of neat. I was looking at them by the covers, and hadn't looked inside them just yet. When I finally did, I found myself scratching my head. Because you see, in 1990, we saw the release of the Ewok Telemovies. That is, the Ewok Adventure, a.k.a. Caravan of Courage, and Ewoks: The Battle for Endor, released on home video in the United States, on Laserdisc, and on VHS. And they were released through MGM UA, MGA United Artists. And in being released that way, they were released like so, on VHS. Okay? So we have the Ewok Adventure. We've seen this before in a previous episode of the show. I think actually back before we went HD and everything. And then we've got Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. Again, we've looked at this before on VHS. When I take these out and take a look at them, though, here's our label. Gray on the top, kind of white, lighter gray in the center, and then gray down at the bottom where it says the Ewok Adventure. And then the same thing here, albeit a little bit darker because of discoloration over time, for Battle for Endor. But it's just a regular type of label that you could believe started out as white, but then it had silver printed on it along with the text and stuff printed on it. It doesn't look like it's actual silver paper or anything like that. It's white paper with silver coloration. And that, to me, were the only versions I had ever seen of those 1990 VHS releases for the Ewok Telemovies. Now, I actually bought those at a rental store, but they weren't previous rental copies. It was just that that rental store had a little section for buying retail copies of movies on VHS. And then it turned out that Brian also picked up some of these, and he had some spares that he sent over to me. A little discolored because of sunlight and things like that. But again, exact same packages as before. But these were previous rental copies that he got from an old, or actually he got off of eBay from somebody who had got them from an old rental store. And when I opened these up, I was kind of surprised with what I saw. Because they should be, theoretically, the same thing we saw on the retail version. But no. Aside from tons of stickers like, yeah, Fox Video, this and that, which is odd. I'm thinking Fox Video was the name of the rental place, because Fox Video, as in 20th Century Fox Video, that had previously been CBS Fox Video, etc., that's now 20th Century Home Entertainment, wouldn't have had anything to do with these movies. This was MGM UA that released them on home video, so I'm assuming Fox Video was the rental place. But check out the label here. This label is straight up silver with red text on it. You got the "Be kind, please rewind, brings back memories" kind of stuff. You got your barcode so they could zap it to let you know that, or to let the system know that it's been rented out or returned and everything. But check it out there. Silver paper, not something that is silver printed on it, but this whole thing looks like it's glossy silver paper with red text there for the Ewok Adventure and underneath the stats about it and such. Nothing says anything on it about this being a rental copy, but if you look at Battle for Endor, it is the same way. Silver label, Ewoks of Battle for Endor there in reddish, pinkish, and then the rest of the text. And it kind of blows my mind, because I've never seen a label like that for these releases. So my question to you as an audience is, have you seen labels like that? If you own these, which labels do yours have? Do they have the regular ones or the silver ones? Was Fox Video also the name of a rental place, not just the label that was used in a lot of Star Wars releases from 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment, or what is now 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment? And do we have an explanation for why the labels look like this? Were there other MGM UA releases from around this same time where the retail label differed from the rental label? Or is it that it's not even about it being a rental and there's just different variants produced at retail of those labels? Really bizarre. I'd never seen those labels before, and I just ran across them. I opened up the VHS when Brian sent it over. I'm like, that doesn't look normal. That looks odd. I think I would have noticed a silver label before. What is up with this? Checked my copies, and sure enough, different labels. So I'm hoping to crowdsource this thing. Where exactly would these have come from? Again, to highlight the differences, silver, I think, rental label on the left, regular retail label on the right for Ewok Adventure. And then here, yes, Underwood 2016, a pox on all your houses. And then, yes, again, silver on the left for apparently rental for Ewoks the Battle for Endor, and then regular there on the right. What on earth is up with these silver labels on the Ewok Telemovies? So from the standpoint of me providing you information, I'm just making you aware in this episode that apparently there is a variant. What I want to know from you, hopefully, is what defines this variant? Where was it from? Why does it exist the way that it does? These are all American copies, to my knowledge. I don't think any of these are from Canada or anything like that. Although, I will say that this one doesn't have the FBI symbol where it says the FBI warning on there, but I would note here that it does say Title 17 USC, like United States Code. So it looks like, yes, US release as well, unless somehow that USC notification for Title 17 somehow winds up, say, in Canada or something like that, though I wouldn't expect it to. So, with that, we'll wrap up this rather bizarre episode, and hopefully, in the comments, you'll be able to provide some information that perhaps will someday lead to a short update episode to follow this with a point 1 to add a little bit more information about these odd silver label versions of the Ewok Telemovies. Thank you all for watching, and thank you in advance for any information you may be able to provide to shed some light on this product. May the Force be with the home video viewers.